Hey! Hi, how you doing? This is the Gamertron, and welcome back to the Gamertron Show. So, we all know what a genre is. A category of some form of subject that is characterized by certain traits. The action genre is meant to entertain and enthrall the viewer. The horror genre is meant to entice and scare the viewer, frighten them, disturb them. The romance genre is about romance, people falling in love. The mystery crime genre, I don't even need to explain this to you. There's 1,000,001 different TV shows all about mystery and crime. So, you guys know what a genre is. You know what I'm talking about when I talk about genres. Now, when it comes to video games, there are very specific types of genres. Or, well, there used to be very specific types of genres. There used to be just the first-person shooter, just the RPG, just the stealth game, just the beat-em-up, just the platformer. But as the years and years have gone by and video games have been improving and innovating and changing, the lines between genres when it comes to video games have become very blurred. Very blurred. I mean, no one video game now cultivates just one genre. Like it used to be years ago, now a single video game can be multiple genres in one. Take a video game like Warframe. It's a third-person shooter, but it's also a hack and slash, and it's also a platformer. It kind of has MMO elements, but it doesn't. It's kind of an RPG. Like, you can't really nail down a single genre on that game. Same thing with another game like Evolve. I mean, Evolve is a first-person shooter, yet it's also a third-person melee game. It's got elements of action and stealth. It's a multiplayer game and a co-op game and a single-player game all at the same time. Then look at a game like, say, Destiny. What the hell kind of genre do you categorize Destiny in? It's a first-person shooter with open-world, MMO, RPG, elements, and blends them all to one. Not just that, in the game you're constantly switching from first person to third person. Years ago, if the game was first person, you stayed in the bloody first person. If a game was third person, you stayed in the bloody third person. Now the lines are mixed. Then look at video games like Watch Dogs, Alien Isolation, The Evil Within. They all have crafting systems, they all have RPG elements, they all have stealth mechanics, and shooting mechanics, and hacking minigames. And the list goes on and on and on, and video games can no longer just be one genre, especially when it comes to AAA video games. I've only recently just noticed this, that I haven't played a video game in a long time that was just a singular genre. It's always been a mix, a collaboration of many. I mean, let's take a look back at the old days, the elder days of gaming. Back in the 90s and the early 2000s, if a game was in the first person, it was usually a shooter. It was almost always a shooter. That's how the FPS was born. First-person shooter. Wolfenstein 3D wasn't a stealth game or a platformer or an RPG. You didn't level up, you didn't have skills or anything like that. The original Wolfenstein was a straightforward shooter. Now, the latest game in the franchise, Wolfenstein: The New Order, it's a first-person shooter, but it's also a stealth game and an RPG. If video games of today came out back then, people's minds would literally be blown with how varied games have become in terms of their style and gameplay. AAA video games nowadays have been incorporating these elements from these separate genres into a singular game nowadays. Stealth, action, crafting, open world, melee combat, shooting, vibrant, dynamic movement. That's something that's been happening recently, what with the incorporation of double jumping and more parkour in games, Titanfall, Warframe, Dying Light, etc. And finally, RPG elements. The term of RPG, role-playing game, can now be applied to several different games that usually wouldn't bear this title. Shooters nowadays are hybrid third-person, first-person shooters / RPGs. You have leveling up, you have skill selection. unlocking new abilities and items, things that used to only belong to the RPG genre, but now has dynamically merged with other genres. Now you guys are probably confused as to my stance on this, because I've just been relaying information, because this is fact, guys. Video game genres have become this weird blend of almost everything. And my stance on this is great. Video game genres are evolving. They're evolving to not just accommodate one person who likes that specific form of genre. They're trying to make games that appeal to everyone. And I'm not talking about simplification or dumbing down or trying to reach a wide audience. I'm talking about how video games are starting to take elements from other video games that you may like or from another genre that you may not have played and putting it into their game. To mention another video game, Dying Light. Dying Light is a first-person shooter and first-person melee game with a heavy focus on RPG elements. The more you level up, you unlock new skills, abilities, and items. Say someone who usually only plays first-person shooters that don't have RPG elements. They'll play Dying Light, discover the RPG elements in that game, grow to either like them and hate them, and either try out other games like that or stay away from them. The combining, the mixing of genres, the evolving of genres provides new, elaborate experiences that used to be only be found in a particular type of game, but now are in multiple types of games. And quite frankly, I'm okay with this. I'm loving this. I'm loving this genre bending, this genre mixing, this genre evolving, this genre innovation. Does this make video games more complex, harder to learn, harder to get into? Maybe for some people, but at the same time, it adds a more dynamic gameplay experience with a lot more content, and a lot more variety in terms of the gameplay and how you play the game. Like, for instance, to bring up the game you've been watching gameplay of, Evolve. As said before, Evolve is a first-person shooter, but it's also a third-person melee combat game and stealth game. This adds more variety, more replayability, more playtime, and new experiences to the game. And the fact that most video games are now taking elements from RPGs with the leveling system and the skills, that means more video games will have, longer playtime. Because you'll be playing those games longer and longer to level up, unlock stuff. Because quite frankly, in a lot of video games, I don't stop playing until I reach max bloody level, and sometimes I will replay entire games just to find new ways to get huge amounts of XP and get to that max level. Hell, sometimes, I will humbly admit this, sometimes in certain video games, I will cheat. I will use a mod that makes me max level from the beginning of the game, allowing me to experience the game in a new way with all skills and abilities and stats unlocked from the start, which again adds more playtime and variety. I like the state that video games are in. Yes, that's something you rarely hear, usually it's the other way around, but I like the state that games are in, where we're getting a lot more innovation and variation in terms of video game genres. One game is going to have a ton of similarities to another game, but be completely different in the way the game plays and how it handles this. I'm looking forward to playing the video games of the future and seeing how they genre bend and genre mix. I'm still waiting for a real-time strategy game that allows me to take control of individual units in the first or third person. So yeah, video game genres are evolving, and I'm loving it. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed the video in any way, shape, or form, if you agreed with me, if you liked the gameplay, if you liked the video in any way, shape, or form, please hit the like button. Hitting the like button helps me, helps you, helps everybody involved with the video if you hit that like button. Please leave a comment. Let me know what your opinion is. What video games would you love to see have genres combined? What genres do you want to see combined and create this new video game? What video games do you like that combine genres? Let me know your thoughts and opinions and your discussions. Leave me your comments. I love getting comments. Don't get enough comments. Please leave a comment. And finally, if you're new to the Gamertron show and this is the first video of mine that you have seen, please, if you like what you've seen, I love video games. I love talking about video games, and if that's something that interests you in any way, shape, or form, please consider subscribing to my channel and supporting me. I would really appreciate it. Anyways, this has been the Gamertron, this has been the Gamertron Show, this has been a video, and I will see you guys later.